got the same result.
Okay. I can hear Commissioner Hack. Is Commissioner Wiley on? He just connected, so we're not going to connect back. It's official. Yeah. That's the first time I ever looked on my phone, Commissioner report. I usually leave it in office. Commissioner Wiley, you on the line yet?
I'm back.
Okay. Wow. And just in time, it is 9:15. Let's get started. Okay, it's 9:15, Monday, July 13th, 2020. Wilson County Commissioners Court is now in session. We will have the opening prayer by Pastor Gil Hodges of the El Messias Methodist Church of Floresville. Pastor Gil.
Thank you, sir. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you, Lord, that we're able to wake up this morning and come in here and take care of business here within this county. And Father God, we thank you for the God that you are, a God of grace, a God of mercy, and most importantly, a God of unity. Father, you are a God of love, and that's what we so much need now in this society that we call the United States. And Father, as we continue in this meeting of the Commissioners Court, we ask that your presence and the power of your Holy Spirit be upon each commissioner and each individual that represents any organization here this morning, because we are in need of unity. And because you are a God of love, we are grateful that you love us. And that same love we are to share to others, regardless of who they are, where they come from, or who they represent. And Father, so we ask for the wisdom and the courage and the knowledge upon these commissioners this morning for the work of this county. We pray this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
I take this flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, moving right along to agenda item number 3, public comments. We have one, Chris Thompson, Wilson County ESD number 1.
Judge, if I may, can I comment when you address the burn ban?
Oh, yes, okay. Then we were gonna hold that off until that agenda item comes up. Okay. Agenda item number 4, certificates of completions and awards. Okay, here we go. Devin Benavides, David Cohen, Wendy Trofwell. Okay. Have successfully completed tax cybersecurity awareness training, state certified mandated course. Each of them did in June of 2020. Okay, and we have certificate of participation, V.G. Young Institute of County Government awards this certificate to Don Barnett for successfully completing 2 hours in annual conference Truth in Taxation. And then this is certificate of participation, D.G. Young Institute of County Government awards this certificate to Don Barnett for successfully completing 2 hours education training in special inventory taxation. Okay, certificate of achievement. This is to certify that Nikki Store has completed the course. Libraries that lend things. What are we lending?
Saws, hammers.
Okay,
Probably both.
yeah, 2 hours accreditation. Okay, and this web, let's see, EdWebNet, certificate of completion, the transformative power of digital reading. Okay, Nikki Store tests that she has viewed the education webinar as of 6/12/20, earned 1 hour. And the EdWebNet, certificate of completion, summer learning through our public libraries in a time of COVID-19. Okay, Nikki Store has attested that she has viewed this webinar as of 6/10/20, of 1 hour credit. And certificate of attendance, Web Junction, Nikki Store has viewed the webinar Hooray for Freedom, Part 1, Privacy, Confidentiality, and Intellectual Freedom in the Library, 1 hour credit. Web Junction, certificate of attendance, Nikki Store has viewed the webinar Hooray for Freedom, Part 2, Developing Policies in Support of Ethical Practice, 1 hour credit. And that's it. Okay. So, moving right along to agenda item number 5, approved bond of Amanda Bravo. We have the bond. Amanda's the new employee in the auditor's office.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Gomez, second by Commissioner Fowle. We approve the bond of Amanda Bravo. Did y'all hear that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, it's carried. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6, extension activity reports, the handouts, and we got the handouts. And also Courtney has some achievement that she'd like to read.
Yes, I don't want to take up too much of your time this morning, but I did want to take a chance to brag on some of our kids here in Wilson County. In June every year, typically we have our state roundup with all of our contests and everything that we do in College Station. Unfortunately, this year we did not get to do that, but we did have an online award ceremony to congratulate all of our kids that received scholarships. And I have this list in front of you here, and I'll read their names out just real quick. The first scholarship recipient that we had was Colton Bennett. He received $5,000. Preston Dowmeyer, he received $5,000. Trace Harris received $20,000. Megan Kopesky, she received $20,000. Clayton Mackey received $10,000. Abby Murphy received $20,000. Ty Parkman received $20,000. And Ashley Scribner received $10,000. That's a total of $120,000 for Wilson County kids. In District 10, the 4-H district that we have, we received $400,000. So Wilson County got a quarter of that. And we also had the highest scholarship amount in the entire state. So it's really exciting and really cool. So that's all, but like I said, I just wanted to congratulate them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody any comments questions on the reports? Then we're gonna move to agenda item number 7, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Michelle Moore, Finance Manager, discuss and approve the purchase of an entire new voting system and equipment for Wilson County.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Have a few handouts for you. As you know, I've talked to all of y'all. This has been a few weeks coming. As you've seen, the various court agendas approving various grants for the elections department, some having to do with COVID, some not. So what you have before you are several, the paper one that shows a real quick snapshot of the benefit analysis of both systems that we were looking at, ES&S and HART. Just to give you some background, there's been a number of communications with the Secretary of State over the past few weeks and how best to utilize the grants coming through the state, not only through CARES, but the Help America Vote Act security grant as well. In previous commissioners' courts, we have done resolutions for those grants, and we do have those grant monies in hand. They've been currently received, and all of you all have been in participation with what to do with this money, obviously. Currently, the county is using the Dominion voting equipment. They're the only county in Texas that still has that equipment. So it's being phased out. Am I correct to say it's no longer certified by the state? Or is it?
It is.
It is for the use of people trying
But
to
not
figure
for
it
the equipment.
out. Okay. So moving forward, we would have to eventually replace this equipment anyway. With the grants, the sub-grant from the CARES Act, which was over $50,000, and then the security grant, which is $120,000 plus part of the Chapter 19 grant. That gives us a little over $175,000 to be in a good position to move forward with this kind of big purchase for the county. So we looked at the two vendors, two companies that are certified by the Secretary of State. Their equipment is certified by the Secretary of State.
There's a lot of background on this, I can't hear.
I'm sorry. I'll stand right here. Can you hear me now?
A little bit, yeah.
Is that on? Okay.
We had two public meetings as well. June 22nd, there was a public meeting for the HART equipment. They came and demoed. Eva posted that. We had some commissioners there. We also had some public there. We had some of the voting, the polling judges as well as poll workers to demo the equipment and to learn about it and ask questions. And then the same for ES&S on the following day, June 23rd. And basically, we come down to what we want to see for our future, and what kind of security assurances we want to have for our voting equipment and our county and our residents, our citizens and whatnot. ES&S provided quotes. I have kind of broken them out in the spreadsheets that I provided you, ES&S and HART. ES&S comes out a little bit more expensive, about $20,000 more expensive. There are reasons for that. One, and you'll have in your paperwork, is what's called a central scanner. It allows for election audits to be done, ballots to be counted very efficiently. Images are scanned of everything that's entered into the system, into the scanner, and it happens within a matter of seconds and minutes. The Secretary of State always asks for 3 boxes to be recounted after each election, and those are random things. This would enable Olga's office to do that in no time at all. The other thing, as you see from the benefits analysis, is ES&S has a bigger screen for their electronic voting, which can handle more races at a time if that's desired. And I think the biggest thing, not only for COVID, as we watched in the demos, I mean, we could instead of spending a bunch of money on pencils and other styluses, devices to enable people to touch the screen, we can use Q-tips. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then you just throw those Q-tips away, and you minimize and reduce the amount of time it's going to take to wipe down every screen, wipe down every piece of equipment. Security features on both of those systems. The security features for ES&S, military encryption. Obviously, there's a lot that can be said about that, but everything is military encrypted. The hard drives, the flash drives, they're all military encrypted, which provides a lot of assurances that the data is going to be secure. There's also secondary locks on each piece of equipment, and there's security seals on each piece of equipment. And they just really went over and beyond for the security part of the deal. HART has what's called a Trust Link. It's a proprietary software. It kind of works like an antivirus software. They have similar features in the sense of, all the equipment is designed for just that use. You can't upload apps on it. You can't work Microsoft Office on any of the equipment. So all those are similar between ES&S and HART, but it just comes down to the different security measures that the 2 companies have implemented. So this high digital scanner is not offered by HART. And they even quoted us, it was interesting to hear on the telephone, that they quoted us the same amount if they were to ever offer something like that as what ES&S quoted. If we took the printer, the scanner out of the mix, ES&S would be lower in price, which is an option for you all. And then the last thing, which I thought was a nice indirect benefit, is the asset management. One of the things that HART does is they give us a huge discount for the Dominion equipment. But that discount goes to the bottom line of the overall purchase of the new equipment. It doesn't actually go into disposal of that old equipment. And ES&S actually will pick up the equipment, upcycle and dispose of that old equipment. So their discount is much less than HART. Did I say that right? Yeah. I don't know if Olga and her group want to say anything.
Pretty much, ES&S has a lot of more of a safety features. I think it's easier friendly, plus it's kind of like equivalent to the equipment that we have now. So it wouldn't be too hard for a voter to vote on it. Since they're already used to our machines, it kind of runs the same way as far as the touch screen and everything they do now. So it'll be a lot easier for them to learn it. Plus it has thumb drives on it where it has one that is also used for security. So if anything, God forbid, ever happens, we have the security thumb drive to back up whatever election, what we were voting on.
Okay, I have a comment. I attended both of those, plus another meeting before that on these. And to me, ES&S is more user-friendly, which is a big plus. and the scanner. That's the two things that, it set them apart. And that would make it a lot easier on all the elections people with the scanner, when it can be, they have to recount the 3 boxes or if there is a recount. So that's my 2 cents.
Judge, I attended 2 meetings also, one on a Monday afternoon with Hart, and then Tuesday morning with ES&S, not knowing really anything about the voting equipment or the process from a detailed standpoint. And I found essentially the same. It appeared to me that ES&S would be easier for the voters to understand how to operate. And it appeared to me that from the standpoint at the end of the day, it would be considerably easier than Hart for the poll workers and everyone else involved. So from my standpoint, ES&S stood out over Hart. They were both interesting, but it just seemed, not knowing anything about it and just sort of mentally trying to put myself in the position of doing what they do, which obviously I'm not capable of. If I had to be involved in one or the other, I'd pick ES&S myself.
Judge, may I make a comment?
Yes.
I had the opportunity, Olga did invite me to see ES&S, and then later on, Hart did come back, and their recommendation, the judges, Ms. Olga, is very good, the ES&S of course.
Well, I'll make a motion, go ahead and accept the ESS.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Commissioner Gomez, we accept the ES&S motion. Second by Commissioner Fowle. Okay, y'all have any more questions or comments?
Judge, I
Yes.
just want, from a financial standpoint, just for clarity purposes, so we'll be using the HAVA grant funds for the initial payment of it, but the remaining, the county's portion, is something that I would like to budget in the new fiscal year. So that won't be coming out of this year's budget, this year's fiscal budget. It'll go after October. And I guess we'll come back to court to determine financing versus paying outright after we determine what our budget is for the new fiscal year.
Okay.
One question, Judge, when will it be in operating system?
We'll have the poll books will be here and we'll be able to use them this year. It probably won't be here for November. It'll be here, but not in use.
Not all.
Yeah, they recommend, all the voting companies recommend when you're changing out an entire system not to use that new system, especially on a high-profile election.
And this is going to be a big election.
We will be using it next year.
So it'll, it's one of the next year use. Any other questions? We've got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this carries. We're getting new election equipment. We have needed for years. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're up again, Michelle. Item number 8, Wichita Jackson County Judge, Michelle Moore, Grants Manager. Update on the TCEQ ACOG Solid Waste Grant to expand the Wilson County Citizens Collection Facility.
This is just a quick update. As you all know, we applied for this TCQ grant back in December of last year. They're testing our endurance and our stamina. So they asked for additional information and an updated project summary. I turned that in on July 2nd. And it also went, I turned that into ACOG, and then it also went to TCQ on July 7th. And then last week on the 9th, we got another request for another form and some more information. Luckily, I've already completed the form because I figured they would want that form anyway. And then we'll just compile the other information and send that along. But I think everything looks good. I don't think they would be doing all this if they didn't want to give us the money. So, so once I get that information in, which I should be doing that this week, hopefully we'll hear about an award soon. So.
We need it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, agenda item number 9, Albert Gomez, Commissioner Precinct 1, presentation by Mr. Roy Hunter of a resolution of the Commissioners Court for adoption that pertains to the county's support of efforts to amend or modify certain statutes related to the Texas lottery. I believe we had the presentation last Commissioners Court, and we just tabled it because you were bringing us up to it.
Right.
Let's see, I've got it here somewhere, I saw it. I've got one here. Here it is, the resolution. Resolution of Commissioners Court of Wilson County, Texas, authorizing the county judge or person to so designated by the Commissioners Court to undertake all efforts necessary to facilitate the implementation of legislature, which will further authorize the division of lottery revenue and providing an effective date. Okay, this is what is the redirect, maybe, hopefully, if the legislature agrees, some of the lottery money for local governments.
Right.
Okay. Like I said, this was the main reason is to get the resolution.
You want to read it?
You would like to read it? Go ahead.
Up to you. I'll go ahead and.
You wrote it, it's rather lengthy, but go ahead.
To be clear, sir, I assisted Mr. Idrock.
Okay.
He gave me kind of a template, which I took, and it was a good template, Mr. Idrock. I just took it and made it more applicable to the county. But if I'll explain to Commissioner's Court real quick. In effect, it is designating the county judge, as he always is, the authorized individual or his designee, which in this case will be Mr. Idrock, to basically proceed on this matter with the endorsement of the county. It's an endorsement only. That's all that he's authorized. He doesn't get to incur any costs that the county is required to pay. He doesn't get to retain lobbyists or anything like that the county is ultimately on the hook for paying for. Mr. Idrock merely, as he goes through his journey, he spoke with me about it, he's trying to get support statewide, and this is just the county's way of giving that support to him. We will be one of hopefully 254 counties who come together, and then, they go to the ledge. It's a long fight, but I welcome Mr. Idrock to work on our behalf.
The only question I have is, at the last meeting, no other county had done a resolution in support of this. Is that still the case?
Yes,
Okay.
we're the first. I think it's originating here. Right.
All right. I was just curious.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion, go ahead and.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Gomez to accept the resolution. Second by Commissioner Powell. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Was there none? So it has been accepted the 13th day of July.
And Judge, if you don't mind requesting by permission authority signed from Mr. Hayek and Commissioners Hayek and Wiley, sir.
Now, did y'all understand, or could y'all hear?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. Then we will,
Just put an F for the Commissioner Precinct 3.
okay. we're doing this, we're moving right along. Agenda item number 10, Richard Jackson County Judge discuss and take action on directing the voter approval rate to be calculated at 8% in the matter provided for a special taxing unit. And I did not find what I had here. Okay, it allows us for, when there is a disaster declaration, that local governments can adjust their voter approval rate, what used to be the rollback rate, to 8%. And this would be a one-time shot for us because it will roll back next year. It will go back to when we have recouped all of how the wording is. It allows us to do this, but we will already be, the property values will already still be here. That's what determines when it goes back to the regular tax rate. So this is a one-time shot. We can go up to the 8% voter approval rate, and I recommend we do it. Have it here just in case we need it. We haven't got the budget done yet, but we have to do it by the end of, I want to say this month. We have to have this done.
So how can we do that 8% if we don't even have numbers for it?
This is just in case.
But if we do this, and then we come back and say that there's more revenue than we need,
We don't have to use it.
huh?
We don't have to use it.
It would be a not to exceed
This is just in
8%.
case.
That's not increasing taxes if we go to 8%, or is it?
This does not say we're increasing. This is giving us the opportunity if we need to.
Or how we know if it's not increasing taxes with that 8%?
What's that?
How we know if it's not increasing taxes with that 8%?
How do we know it's not? It's 8%. It gives us an opportunity to go up 8% over last year's revenue.
Well, that's what we did last year.
Yeah.
We went up, and you said that that was gonna be the final.
Okay, now all this is, this is not saying we're going up 8%. This is giving us the opportunity too, if we have to. If,
I will wait and see until we.
you can't wait. We have to have this done by the end of the month. And like I said, we're not voting on the tax rate right now. All we're doing is voting on allowing us to go to the 8%.
So the state is giving us a pass, is that it, Judge, for a
Well, the
year?
statute gives us a pass. And I cannot find it, I could read you the statute. But it's still on my desk, I guess, because it's not here.
It sounds like to me, Judge, that this is an opportunity for us to collect a higher rate for 1 year in the event that our collections for this year, for next year's budget, fall short. Is that correct?
Yes. And this is, like I said, we're not voting on the tax rate right now, we're just voting in case we need it. It's there.
Well, initially, when I looked at this, I was not in favor of it. Because I had a concern, because I misunderstood. I just want to make that clear. Because if we do an 8% tax increase under the current system, my thought was, is that we'd inevitably have a rollback election and that would cost the county money. If this is a situation, so we're just saying, you know, if we need it, maybe, but we're not approving it, then I wouldn't have a problem with approving it now, whether we use it or whether we don't use it.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if that's clear or not, you know, what you're saying is that if we do this, we have the right to do it. If we feel like we need to do it, that still has to be passed through Commissioner's Court. So whenever we vote on the budget, if you're not in favor of it, and you're not in favor of the 8%, you can vote against it. Am I reading that right?
That's correct.
That is correct. And the proposed budget will be brought to court on the 27th of this month.
So what happens to the 3.5% property tax?
It could be back next year.
It's not, so it's not gonna affect this year?
No, this is a one-time shot. That's right. And like I said, we're not voting on the tax rate right now. All we're voting on is allows us to go to the 8% without having to have a mandatory rollback election. It's a mandatory
And
rollback.
Judge, I would assume that's for us and the other 253 counties in the state, if they choose to do it?
And municipalities too.
Okay.
So,
I think what's important to note also is between now and the 27th, it would be helpful for me to know, because I've received all of the budget worksheets so that I can start preparing the new fiscal year's budget. I don't see a lot of new large expense requests coming in, but if I don't have an idea to gauge by, if I was given it at least the maximum of 8%, then I would know that that's how I would have that room to prepare the budget to bring for your approval on the 27th. If not, then I have to go back through everybody's budget worksheets and determine where I would need to cut back on different line items if we're not gonna have that flexibility. So you're not, just kind of reiterating what the judge is saying, you're not voting on approving an 8% increase. It just gives us that flexibility should we need to go up in our budget expenses for the new fiscal year.
So we'll determine when you give us the number.
On the 27th, you'll be able to know what that percentage is. And we know that it's not going to exceed the 8%. But right now, today, I don't know what that number is because I have not completed it yet.
But if, let's say it's a 2% increase from last year, that's all it would have to be, it won't be the 8%.
Correct.
okay. Here it is. It is section 26.04C1 of the tax code. You can go read it yourself. It allows us to do this.
What the code?
Huh? It's section 26.04 C1.
Under the scenario that's presented, I don't see a problem with going forward with this, because all we're doing is, again, giving ourselves a little wiggle room if we need some wiggle room that we're gonna lose otherwise.
That's exactly right.
Well, we're not making no.
You keep it.
I would recommend that perhaps rewording, if you're gonna take any action, that it state that we would not exceed 8% in order to,
Well, this is, we don't have to worry, all this is, it's not, we're not setting it, there's no tax rate, no, nothing. We're just allowing ourselves to go to the 8 without a rollback vote, or tax approval vote. Look on the second page of that, and look at the reserve. There it is, right there.
So what it is, just going back what Brenda was saying, this is just to approve this so she can have something to play with. If it comes down to that 8% that we needed, it's not gonna require voters approval.
If we go over the 8%, it will. If we stay under the 8%, it won't. We can stay under the 3.5%.
right?
All this is doing is giving us that opportunity. If we don't take it now, we're gonna miss it. we have to have this passed. I mean, like I said, it's not saying we're gonna go to 8%, it's not saying we're gonna go to 7%, it's not saying we have to go above 3.5%, it's just, it's there in case we need it.
But the way it's worded, Judge, is kind of the way it says.
The agenda item?
Yes. You said, take action on directing that the voter approved tax rate be calculated at 8%.
That's why I said it should say not to.
That's where the,
Yeah. That's moving the voter approval rate from 3.5, like it is right now, to 8.
All right, I will state again that I don't have a problem with making a motion to go forward with this. I'm not saying by doing that I would necessarily be in favor of doing a budget for 8%.
Correct.
But if this gives us the opportunity to build our budget, and I know you're presenting it toward the end of the month, the freedom, if we may need it in the course of this, then I'll make a motion that we approve this with that understanding, if that's clear.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. And I'm sure we've probably got more questions.
what is that 8% calculated, you know? How much revenue?
We'll have to
I
go
don't have
from,
it I don't have it on top of my head, no, I don't have the current budget.
we'll have to go from last year's budget, we don't have a budget with us. But it's just, it's what it used to be before the, legislature changed it from 8% back down to 3.5. They're just giving us a reprieve for 1 year because of the disaster declaration. Okay. We got a We got a motion and a second. I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving right along. Agenda item number 11, Richard O. Jackson, County Judge, Nikki Storer, Library Director, discuss and take action on closing all public libraries to library patrons with the exceptions of computer use only.
We would like permission to go back to curbside service to eliminate the people wandering through the libraries who are not adhering to the face mask requirement. With 70,000 items in the library's collection, it's very hard to keep track of who's touched what when. So if we could limit the patrons browsing and go back to the curbside service is what we're asking. The computer labs would still be open for the testing and for the weekend testing and for people needing to come and do their job application. They're at the COVID requirement of Stockdale and Livonia can have one person. The Floresville Library can have 4 people in that room at any one time. So I should have, the last time the Commissioners Court met, I should have spoke up and I did not. So we're here today to ask permission to go back to curbside service.
Okay.
We are also offering digital library cards that gives you access to our digital collections and all of the state's electronic resources. as well with the digital cards. You don't have to come into the library, you can use a digital card and still get your reading material.
Okay. I don't see anything going back to what you were doing there. And hopefully one of these days we'll be able to go back to a real regular library and everybody can come inside.
Yes, everybody's missing us.
Entertain a motion to allow her to do that.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Gomez,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Hyde, that we allow the library to close except for computer use only. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we're moving right along, thanking you. Agenda item 12, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Brenda Trevino County Auditor. I'm gonna read the whole agenda item. 12A, request to go out for bids for the following for Wilson County. A1, material hauling, material plus hauling. A2, fuel. A3, towing. A4, lawn maintenance services. And 12B, request to go out for bids for, or renew through interlocal agreement. Okay, B1, general liability insurance, B2, auto insurance, B3, property insurance. Bids will be published on July 22nd, 2020. Deadline to turn in bid packets to auditor's office will be 9 a.m. August 10th, 2020. Bids will be opened 10 a.m. August 10th, 2020. Bids will possibly be awarded in Commissioner's Court on August 24th, 2020. Okay. Brenda?
So it's that time of year again. Really, the only, material, fuel, and towing is pretty self-explanatory. You guys are more familiar with that. Item D, which is the lawn maintenance services, that is something new that we did for this fiscal year. It's up to you if you feel like we need to continue that maintenance contract. I'll remind you that we did hire an additional maintenance personnel this fiscal year as well. And it's my understanding that they are doing quite a bit of work. I don't know necessarily if the lawn maintenance contract is something that we need based on the amount of personnel that we have in the maintenance department. I can't speak to the maintenance personnel department because I'm not, that's not my area, but that is something for your consideration as well. I don't know, do we want to go, do we have to do each line item, Judge, or we can just do it as a whole?
Well, and as far as going out for bids, I'm like you on the lawn maintenance service. We've got an extra maintenance person. We have a plan on how it's going to work, where we can do away with the lawn maintenance service, not the lawn maintenance, just the service, and
The
have
contract that we have.
So on this lawn maintenance, so we're going back and forth, back and forth.
Yes.
So what is it, we need it or we don't need it? At first we have one.
Well, you get
We
to make that
took it
choice.
off and said that they can maintain it. And then they say couldn't maintain it, so we had to hire a contractor. So now that we got a contractor and doing the good work,
Now, I'm not saying he's doing the good work, because I've had to call him a couple of times to come out here and mow the grass.
well, the way the contract reads, it's only done 2 times a month.
Yeah, but 2 times a month it wasn't happening, because when you're going out there and you got way higher than ankle deep grass, I'm not happy, as happy as I should be with them, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, Judge, you weren't even happy when they were cutting it. When we had the employees cutting the grass.
No, because they weren't doing a good job.
Well, what is the difference now?
We've got more employees. Okay, when the employees were cutting the grass, it was not being edged and weed eated, and it would be cut ever so often. Okay, once they got it cut, then we have to find time for them we have an extra person. Now, hang on a minute, okay? Gregory, if you would enlighten everybody on how you got it to where
At first, we didn't have enough people to maintain. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was only 2, 3 of us at most of the time. Now it's 5 of us. I got the ladies over in each courthouse I got another floater, and then I got a maintenance guy, and I got me. I could bring one of them in early in the morning to get the yards cut, at least every time they need cut. Me and the other guy can get out there and edge and trim. See, right now, we done got everything, most of everything caught up to where it's supposed to be. So we can maintain it right now. Because every time we call it, it's extra money out the pocket.
But when you go, like I told you the other day, you're gonna be weeding, what if they need you somewhere else? That's the problem I see, and what do we got for equipment?
We got equipment out there.
I know, trailers with all the lawnmowers around.
I got that go to the jail and get picked him up.
They ain't got nothing over there that's gonna be any good.
We've been using it.
I mean, and then if y'all gonna be having a pickup, who's gonna pull it? If you're using it to pick up somewhere else,
We got 2 pickups with trailer balls on.
I just think we need to look at that real hard, because I know we've had trouble in the past, back in what we agree with Commissioner Gomez. We went out for bid, everything was going good. He came back to us, if we can do it ourselves, then we couldn't do it ourselves. I mean, I can see trouble down the road.
The trouble I saw was we didn't get any representatives out here to cut the grass when they needed cutting a couple of times. We had to call them, and they're.
Yeah, and
it was past the 2 weeks.
I'll speak to that too. It's because
They
the
haven't.
contractor that we awarded it to, we were not informed that they were going to be subcontracting it out. So these are not, it's not employees of All Above Construction like they said it was going to be. And so sometimes the communication, there was a communication gap between that subcontractor and the awarded contractor, which caused the problems that we've had. I will say that every time there has been an issue, we call the contractor, he's fixed it, immediately, but again, it was having to go back and reach out to him to say, this is not getting done, or where are you, et cetera, et cetera. I guess my only concern would be that if we don't budget for it, for the contract, that money goes away, so midway through the year, and we can't do it, because you guys are now overwhelmed, or you've got too much going on, then we're gonna be right back in the same boat.
That's what I think we need to just at least bid it out and see where we're at.
I'm not for bidding out to somebody that's subcontracting out to somebody else.
Put it in the contract.
Well, we'll have to put
Yeah,
it
and
in
that's
the
what we
contract.
didn't do, it wasn't
I
in
mean,
the
that's
contract.
fine, put it in the contract.
Brad, I'd like to put something.
Okay, let Commissioner Hayek speak, he's first.
I, have looked at the maintenance department over the last 3.5 years. I think one of the issues we have is planning and scheduling and the time and motion to determine what would be the most effective use of the employees we have. Now that we have more staff than we ever did, I think if we did a complete study and to see where the needs are and how it needs to be done, I think we could utilize the employees and staff we have now to do the grass cutting and all the other things that need to be done. But somebody just needs to sit down and plan it with them and make out a schedule. And of course, the schedule's gonna be flexible because there are times when something's gonna pop up and it needs immediate attention. But I think with proper scheduling and assignments, we could do it with our staff.
I agree with that.
What was the amount of the contract that we have?
It was $33,600, and it's $1,400 bi-weekly. However, with the dryness, we have been watering extensively, and so every time we call them to come out in between those weeks, it's an additional $350 per site, and we have 4 sites that they cut.
By eliminating that contract, that would pay for one of the maintenance
One of the
staff.
maintenance employees, yes, it would.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I know what's happened in the past, and I know what's happened over by the EMA's office, and it takes about a week to get everything mowed and weeded.
So they do it in a day.
Not every place, Judge. They do every day one place.
Yeah, it's
They
usually
don't
about
do the
three.
show barn, they
It's
don't do
usually
the
about 3 days
jail.
worth of work is what's on the invoice. They list out the service dates, and it's usually, they usually start like on a Wednesday and they finish by Friday. Unless they have to come back on Monday for something, but usually it's 3 to 4 days.
It is.
And that's where a maintenance schedule would help make them more productive and efficient.
That's what the contract is right now, Commissioner Hyatt. That's how long it takes them to mow all of our facilities. And you're gonna take one of our maintenance guys at least twice a month, which would be 2 weeks. You're doing that.
That's right, and we're gonna recover the money from the contract to pay for that individual to do that, who's on our staff.
And when it gets tall and bushy looking, it'll be cut. Instead of having to go.
Schedule to that.
Well, if
I'll
we're
have
going
him
to,
up here to go over that and work with him to set up a good schedule for everything.
if we're gonna take that approach, where we do it ourselves, if there is equipment that we need, if we need a trailer, I heard that come up, if we don't have an adequate trailer, if we need additional equipment, you can certainly purchase a lot of that for $30,000 within that, you wouldn't need $30,000. But if equipment is an issue, it would be better, I think, if we could get it done in-house. But, I'm sitting in my office here at the yard, and, I'm not in Floresville every day, and those of you that are closer to it than I am. We certainly could do it ourselves. I don't know if the budget would need to change. I don't know if there are times of the year that we need to make certain that we dedicate certain personnel to that. But that's all as Commissioner Height said, that's all in planning. But, we would have to sit down, or someone would have to sit down and put together a plan. That's how I read it.
We could get that done.
But
So-
we can go ahead and still bid it, don't have to accept the bid, correct? If we wanna go ahead and choose to do that, give us time to look at it more.
I think
Yeah,
the question,
Well, just because we take bids doesn't mean we have to accept them.
Exactly.
that is correct, but from a budget standpoint, I would need to know if I need to budget the 33.6 that's currently budgeted for the maintenance contract in order to put it into the proposed budget by July 27th.
That
It
gives
doesn't
us
be pretty, doesn't give you any time at all. It gives you 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, if we leave it off, we'll know it's not gonna be there.
I just think we need to look at it real close.
I mean, we can budget if you want to continue and go out for bid and then possibly not accept any bids, we can still budget for it
Take
and
it
just
out.
not use it, correct?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be in the budget. We won't be able to just take it out of the budget. If we put it in the budget.
Yeah,
next
it
year,
would,
it'll
it would be there. Mhm.
Yeah, it would be there, but it wouldn't be spent.
Correct.
Correct.
I said, that may be the approach to take, because if we decide to do it ourselves, in the analysis, again, we may find that there is equipment that we may need to purchase. I really don't know. So having that money in the budget and not using it is not necessarily a
Well,
problem.
Question for Brenda, if we put that in the budget, can we put it in there to where if we decide to do it ourselves, that it can be used to purchase the equipment?
Yeah, the line item reads just grounds maintenance, so it's not under a contract basis. So it's whatever's budgeted for that particular line item as ground maintenance, we can use it how we see fit.
Okay, did you hear that, Commissioner Wiley?
I did.
Okay.
And for me, I think that would work, and therefore I would say, go forward with it. That'll give us a little, 2 weeks is probably too narrow of a window. So let's go forward with doing the bids, particularly since we will how it's entered, if we decide not to do it, and it's a matter of equipment, making certain we have the right equipment to do the job, so it's as timely as it can be and should be.
Okay,
So we're gonna do that, we're gonna include in the bid that the work cannot be subcontracted, it would have to be done by the contractor who.
yeah.
Did it.
Yes,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, so let's do this. I'll entertain a motion for 12A, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to go out for bids.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle, second by Commissioner Gomez. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're going out for bids on materials hauling, materials plus hauling, fuel towing, and lawn maintenance services. Now, we're at 12B, request to go out for bids or renew through interlocal agreements, general liability, auto insurance, and property insurance. We've always just renewed this stuff through our interlocal agreement with TAC and whatever else we've had. Is anybody, and that's usually the easiest way to do it, but it always seems when we have bid it out, that the ones that end up with it are the ones that already have it. So, do y'all want to just renew through interlocal agreements, which is allowed for us to do?
So that suits me fine.
Okay.
Most of it's with tax, and that's the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
the only one that is not with TAC is our general liability, and that's through Krusky Insurance Agency, which then goes through Travelers, and that is for our law enforcement, our public official, and our employment insurance. But that is something that we, again, have renewed with them year after year, and currently, I have a meeting with them, and we don't have a final number. These all, by the way, renew October 1. And so there will be a slight increase. I don't have those numbers yet, but it is to not exceed 10% of what we're currently paying. The same, and then auto and properties with tax as well.
So who's got the
So I'm
general liability and the auto and the
comfortable
property?
with-
Had it, all of them have had it for the last several years.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed even when we bid it out. So, do we want to go through our interlocal agreements and,
I do.
okay, you make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we do.
Motion by Commissioner Fowle,
I'll second.
second by Albert, second, Commissioner Gomez seconded it. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we're gonna renew through interlocal agreements. So we're going to agenda item 13. Rich Dell, Jackson County Judge, acknowledge the Wilson County Historical Commission for Distinguished Service Award from Texas Historical Commission.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. I've got a certificate here. It says Texas Historical Commission presents this 2019 Distinguished Service Award to Wilson County Historical Commission in recognition of its active and well-balanced preservation program. And it's signed Mark Wolf, Executive Director, June 10th, 2020. And we have present with us Lawana Denham Luce.
All right, thank you, Judge, and I really want to thank the Judge and all of you commissioners for appointing me to be over this very important aspect of our county. Wilson County has some of the richest and most diverse cultural history in the state of Texas. And we have been very blessed to be able to have museums all over the county. It's not just this. We're still working on the museum here in town, and that's still a work in progress. However, the Livonia has their historical association. Sutherland Springs has their museum there. We also have Stockdale is now renewing and opening up their Dr. Korn's museum there. And then we have the alliance with the library now that is running our archives department. So as far as what we're doing in Wilson County, sometimes it looks like we're not doing a lot, but on the other hand, we are. And we don't want to forget that we have a World Heritage Site in Wilson County in Rancho de los Cabos. That is something that there are only less than 200 of in the United States because we're a newer nation. However, we're right up there with the Sphinx and all of the 7 wonders of the world. It is a World Heritage Site. And it's really important that perhaps we could get all of our cities in the county and our county to start working towards making that more visible and more viable for tourists with the National Park Service. This is something that we have been working on about 20 years here, and we have been very blessed to be able to have this in our location. It is really something that would draw a lot of tourists through the National Park Service and the missions in San Antonio. So that is our big hope, but our hours this year that we turned in that helped get us this award was due a lot to the Opry that we had at the show barn this last year, for the last 9 years that we've had that to raise money for the museum, and now that is moot. We don't have that fundraiser anymore due to all of this other pandemic. So, right now though, we do thank you and we appreciate the judge and the court and the commissioners for helping us get this done. So that award really goes to the county, so thank you very much.
You wanna take a picture with this? For the, how many people, we can't get too close together.
I know. Whoop.
Here, Judge, you take that.
You and the judge.
Well, this is for the paper.
Oh, he made you a copy.
That's gonna be a pretty ugly picture without precinct 3 and 4.
It's got, I got a mask on.
Well, you probably look the best you have ever.
Thank you, Commissioner Wiley.
Okay, moving right along. Thank you, Luana.
Are you gonna give that to me?
Y'all do a lot.
I'll take that with me when I go.
Okay,
Get it, Sarah.
okay. Agenda item 14, Paul Fowle, Commissioner Precinct 2, discuss and take action on allowing county employees to volunteer to work the food bank at Wilson County Expo and Community Center on Wednesday, July 29th, starting at 7 a.m. Employee will be compensated.
Judge, I guess it's still going, we're still gonna have a food bank.
As far as I know, we are.
I encourage all department heads and elected officials to please try to help this time, because I know the food bank is limited on volunteers, and the employees will get reimbursed, they will get paid for the time out there. It's probably gonna be hot, so we need to kind of work in shifts or help out. And I encourage everybody to at least send 1 or 2 employees if they can. Even the city of Florida, if they can come help. We're not only serving one particular area or precinct, we're supplying for the whole county. So I'm asking for everybody's help this coming July 29th. We're going to have the day ahead of time going to be set up. We're going to need some, I know a water truck, we're going to need some work out there at the event center to get that ready for the next day and set up tables. So I'll make a motion, Judge, that we allow the county employees to volunteer their time and get reimbursed for the man hours that they work out there.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Fowle,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Gomez. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's motion carries. So we will have the food bank on the 14th, that, 29th, that, I'm looking at the agenda, at the Wilson County Expo and Community Center. So, moving right along to agenda item 15, Richard L. Jackson County Judge. Discuss and take action on the Wilson County local match for the next fiscal year for Camino Real Community Services. I've got that here. Okay, what we do is we provide a building on B Street, which is 3,750 total square feet, and the total rent per month, or what is allowed, is $5,738 for a total of $68,850 per year in the local match. And then we also have a building on 3rd Street, 1325 3rd Street, and it's 2,586 total square feet. and both of them are estimated at 1.53 dollars per square foot, and that one's $39.57 for 12 months. It's $47,479, which is a total of see if that's right. 119,326, which is a cut on this 121,298. But it covers that because the match that we're required to match is 99,835. So we cover the match, and we're still allowing Camino Real is still working here in Wilson County, and we're contributing our part. So if I can get a motion to allow this as our match.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Gomez. Did we allow this for our match for the next year? Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries. Thank you. So we have Camino Real taken care of for another year. Okay, moving right along to agenda item 16, Albert Gomez, Commissioner Precinct 1. Presentation by UMatter LLC about services they offer related to COVID-19 testing for the community and county. Discussion and possible action to follow.
So I've got, hi Judge, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Van Acker. And I've got Randy Cecil, he's another local business owner. I would like to present together, maybe going to the jury box might be easier. I hate to have him standing behind me while I'm trying to present with him. Is that okay? Yeah, is that all right? Okay. Okay. No problem. I'm not used to speaking with this. There's a lot of hot air in here apparently when I speak, so anyway. Again, my name is Lisa Van Acker. I'm an attorney and health risk management consultant for UMatter. We're a San Antonio-based company. The reason we're here today is because we're in a pandemic, unfortunately. And the President of the United States has asked for state and local leaders to solve our problem. I also heard very clearly that he was asking for business owners to contribute to that. So Randy and I are here today as business owners from San Antonio. They want to bring a solution that we think can help with the COVID-19 crisis.
I have a hard time hearing it,
Just they're gonna have to come forward.
So we come down there.
Yeah.
So stand right in front of those two phones would be the best way to do it.
Okay, so my company, UMatter, we have a team of health risk managers and phlebotomists and people out in the field. Most recently, prior to the pandemic, we were working with the largest employer south of San Antonio, doing on-site biometric screening. My whole staff pulled out of the field, and they're sitting at home. Mr. Special here has a bunch of primary care doctors in San Antonio. They're treating patients out of 2 clinics in San Antonio and New Braunfels. With the pandemic, the government has given us a lot of leeway with telemedicine services, and we're excited about that. And so the collaboration of our 2 companies essentially brings to you an on-site collection of COVID-19 testing. It's a full spectrum of testing. It's not just the point of care, immediate, whether or not you have it. There's also antibody testing to see whether or not you've been exposed prior, and we're doing vitamin D testing and virals as well. But we want to come into the community. We want to provide a local place. We've been to the convention center in the city of Floresville. We plan to start a screening with their employees on Thursday of this week. And what we plan to bring to them is a local place where they can go, they're gonna be tested. Within 24 to 48 hours, a doctor will call them with a telemedicine visit explaining what results are. The problem in today's day and age is we go through a long line, we're all sitting in our masks in our cars, and they screen us, and then they send us home. Whether there's a positive or a negative, we go home, and there's no triage. Where do we go? And then we go to the doctor's office, or we go to the hospital trying to find answers, and we're exposing people even further, unnecessarily. So our pitch, really, and with the help of the city manager, was to bring an idea, a creative solution to Wilson County and its residents that will be the first, really, to have local collection and then telephonic primary care and triage in the pandemic. Part of the program also includes is if people are test positive, we also, the physicians that call them and give them the results, will continue with disease management with them for 4, 7, and 10 days. So this is a participant that now has been diagnosed with a deadly disease, and now they have a resource, an educated one, a physician to call. Now that I'm positive, where do I send my family? Where do I send my kids? Do I send them to school? We need resources for people, and I encourage this is my pitch, really, is to help us, to help you. Randy, if you want to add, I have a huge presentation here that has a lot more details in this.
A lot of details, correct.
And I don't know how much time I have. I'm happy to go through page by page.
I can kind of summarize the entire thing. So my background is I'm the CEO of Central Texas Clinics. We're a primary care group. We are very driven on the whole functional medicine preventative care model, and been in this field for a long time. Basically, what we're doing here is we came up with a solution, but we don't have the staff to go out and test communities. We don't have that clinically. But how do we impact the clinic, or how do we impact the community as a whole? This is what our partnership is about. And they have the team that can be the hands and feet on the street to do the collection of the specimens and handling of the specimens, to make sure that everybody's safe in that process. And as we all know, we've all seen our staff all garbed up and everything. We all know how that works. So that's what we're trying to do.
And then they treat telephonically, so that with limited exposure. And then the best part of the whole thing, there's data. We're going to be able to give you data on the information that we collect so that you can make informed decisions on whether or not you're lifting restrictions or not. You'll know exactly where the virus is infiltrated. You'll know how many people have been exposed, past exposed, have the virus, have made potential immunity to it. We can counsel people on donating plasma. There's so many things that we can do by providing education to the Wilson County residents, and I just encourage you to join us. What we're asking for today is it's going to cost $50 per person, and I want to say thank you and your patience as we've tried to collaborate and put this together. We've gone back and forth with what that collection number would be, but I have a staff of folks that we're bringing in from the valley. Most of them, some of them have worked for me for 12, 15 years. I love them like, as you do your employees. One of them is in the hospital right now. My mom passed away on Monday, COVID-19. My staff is serious about helping eliminate this pandemic. We want a client, we want the county to do it with, and so we ask for your support. We intend to start with the city of Floresville on this Thursday.
What kind of support are you talking about?
It's $50 per person for every person that we collect.
So you're wanting the county to pay for that?
I believe that there's some CARES Act funding out there that we can use for that. Yes, sir.
Okay, that would be the county would be using for that. Okay.
Look at the website now. It says here that y'all test for the antibody, but not the diagnosis of the COVID-19 virus. Is that correct?
We offer both testing, sir.
Both testing.
What is your website
Okay.
address?
YouMatterWellness.com. I will tell you that the website is going to direct you to what we do on a normal daily basis, not in the pandemic. This collaboration has been created because of this pandemic, so you're not going to find a lot of direction there. Everything you want to know is in this presentation, and I'm happy to go through it page by page.
You all can go out to centraltexasclinics.com, out to our website, and you'll see what we're doing. We call it COVID IQ.
COVID what?
COVID IQ.
Okay.
So
I've
there's,
got concern after a test is conducted and let's say you have a positive antibody or COVID-19, what do y'all do after that?
That's a great question. So what we do after that is we call it the 1, 4, 7, 10 plan. And because we know that the life cycle of COVID is about 14 days. And what we do is we do a telemed visit with every one of these patients. We'll do them on the 4th day, well, obviously the 1st day when they're positive. We do it on the 4th day, the 7th day, and the 10th day. We like to test them again on day 7 to see where they are. But we're also testing for the antibodies, so we do a blood draw with the swab. So as you all know, the swab is what they call a molecular study that they actually, and forgive me if I'm being redundant or anything, but the swab is basically a molecular study that's being done on a patient to see if they have the virus that's active. So it's what they call shedding the virus. Then we also do a blood draw on the patient, because what we have found is that a large portion of the population that's been testing positive here, at least in Texas for us, has been asymptomatic. So they haven't even had a temperature, but they haven't. And so we tell them immediately, you've got to quarantine yourself 14 days, stay with your family, get everybody in the same household, you've got to do that. And then we advise them on what they need to do. Day 4, we follow up to see how they're doing. If they're doing well, then we just keep them on the path. We also advise them about the supplements. So there's zinc, there's a Z-Pack that we put them on, and then there's additional, there's vitamin D, which, by the way, just an FYI, all of you all should be taking vitamin D every day. And you need to get your units up to at least 5,000 to 10,000 units a day is where you need to be. Just an FYI.
Now run outside Saturday and you get plenty of vitamin D.
There you go. The sunshine is not enough, okay? So just an FYI, do that. That's me preaching, okay? I'm off my soapbox now.
So there is one other thing that I want to direct your attention to that's very important. It's only $50 for all of these things that we're talking about because we're using health plan funds for people that are on PPO insurance plans. Like the city of Floresville, they have a PPO through Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we actually invoice for the doctor services through the fully insured health plan. So the caveat to that is this: right now the federal government is paying for all of that through the health plans through July 31st. That's the extension of what we call waivers. They're paying for it, and not the insurance companies. So we expect those waivers to go past 7/31, but there's no guarantee on it. So if we're going to put this collaboration together, and for only $50, if all of the county or the Wilson County residents there, we have to act quick to take advantage of these funds before they go away.
We also can do uninsured patients too.
I have a question and concern that I'm just doing my research on now. I've learned of at least 6 people, 2 in this area, 2 in San Antonio, and 2 in Dallas, who registered to take the test that the state's offering, weren't able to take the test, but yet received notification that they were positive. That's a big concern to me.
Sir, here's what I will tell you. Testing right now is probably one of the most confusing things that we have, and that's what we're supposed to be using the guidance for the pandemic, right? How do we know if it's FDA authorized or approved? How do we know if it's covered or not covered? How do we know if it's for antibodies or active infection? Nobody knows. That's why we want your help. We want to give you consistent testing. It will be the exact same test. You will get a report that says how many people had antibodies based on the exact same test. The consistency is huge here. It gives you information that other people don't have. Other counties don't have this. We're not working with any other counties right now. This is the first one because of the city manager in Floresville. That's why we're standing right here. But we do have clients in the valley, and that's where most of my staff is. So if we don't use them here, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to say, I want to help you. We put this together.
How long y'all been in business?
I'm an attorney, that's my background. I started a company called Personalized Prevention in 2006. I sold it in 2018. 2018, my business partner was managed also, and I started Humana.
Central Texas Clinics has been around for
Okay, you're not a doctor, correct?
Nope.
Okay, and you said there's gonna be a doctor,
Physician oversight, yes,
Yes.
sir.
okay,
physician
is he gonna
oversight.
have an admission privileges somewhere?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're all
Because I
placed-
know right now, our hospitals are filling up. And we're having problems, and, Mr. Marconi can, validate this, of having a place to take a COVID patient.
Right, so the idea is, we're really trying to keep people out of the hospitals and do this telephonically. The doctors in San Antonio can call people in Wilson County over the phone. And there's a phone number that they can call and say, listen, I really feel like I need to be admitted. So then they have a doctor, when they get to the hospital, that's got their lab results already. That there's no redundancy in care, there's some consistency, and there's oversight.
What hospital would this be?
It would be wherever the patient or the doctor decides to go. It's just like in any other.
It's where there's open beds at this point, is what it is.
Where
So-
is the testing performed?
We're gonna set up at the convention center. I'm sorry, yeah.
How many, how many tests do you have available?
So our quantity is 1,000 a day, but I don't have that in terms of staff to do that. I believe I could get anywhere from 10 to 25 phlebotomists here. They do anywhere from 4 to 5 people an hour. So without knowing how many, after we do the city employees, city of Floresville employees, I'd love to do the employees of the county. Let's start there. I am assuming you have a PPO with a national insurance carrier like Blue Cross. I'm assuming, yeah. And that's how this works. The other thing is, they've also gotten a grant to work, to pay for funding for uninsured people. So not only can we do it for people that have a commercial insurance product on a PPO, we can also do this for uninsured and that's advantage here.
Now, over the weekend, just because this is a constantly changing environment, and United Healthcare approved for their HMOs or their patients that are on any of their plans can actually go anywhere out of the network now, and it's 100% covered. Now, what the presidential mandate was on the insurance plans was that anything related to COVID will be covered, not going towards deductible, meaning that it's covered at 100%. That's what that means. And so I got a letter Saturday, actually, sent from one of my patients that said, hey, my mother just got this, and her HMO, can she come to the clinic and get tested on Monday? And I said, absolutely, based on this letter. So what I'm thinking is that the pandemic it has spikes in different regions of the country right now, and what they're also finding out is that the majority of people testing positive are asymptomatic. So we don't know when they're contagious, when they aren't contagious. All we know is that they're still shedding the virus. Meaning that's what the swab is for. And they're still shedding that virus. It's a crapshoot.
And then we're
Yeah.
sending them back out to the community.
Right.
to
So
fend for themselves, frankly.
that's why we have our strategy. And we've been very successful with it. We've been actually doing this type of a testing model like we're going to be doing with the city of Floresville on Thursday. We've been doing this in San Antonio for the last 2 months with a rehab center that we are testing people weekly because they're healthcare providers. It's a healthcare environment. And then we are also doing it with the Lift Fund of San Antonio because we have an office space that we rent from them in San Antonio. And so we're testing their team too, but we do that every 2 weeks. So if they're not an essential worker, then you can test them every 2 weeks. But the life cycle of this pandemic is 14 days. And so those are the types of things that we just got to be cautious of. How is it? It's a juggling act. But I think if we, our philosophy and what we came out with 4 months ago when all this really started really percolating, I said, we're going to charge into it. I said, we're not going to run away from it. We're not going to be afraid of it. We're going to take the right strides to make sure that everybody's protected, and we're going to charge into it. And we've been doing that. And our chief medical officer is Mark Hickman, general surgeon that's out of New Braunfels. Mark pushed really hard for us to do the vitamin D, and he's like, and I promise you guys, I've been on vitamin D at 10,000 units a day for over a month. And I am at all kinds of screenings and everything's been going well. So I don't know, I can't sit here and say, yeah, this is the magic bullet, it's not. But the one thing I can tell you is that it is what it is. And if we don't address it and go after it full bore, then shame on us, is my philosophy.
Tell me something about Central Texas clinics. How many do you have? Where are they?
We have two locations, and we're primary care group. So we oversee about 8,000 patient lives is what we oversee. We have 3 providers right now. Because of the pandemic, there's been a lot of providers that have lost their physicians and stuff, so we're in the process of bringing them on board to be able to do the telemed. So I'm not afraid of what the volume is going to be. We have a nursing team and everybody lined up to be able to take a higher volume. So not concerned about that. And but we're primary care, so we do the day-to-day care on the patients across the board.
And I can't stress enough, so patient care is one thing, but you've been given the directive to figure out how to solve COVID-19, this pandemic, in your community, and you have no data to do that. And the other piece to this is arming you with some really important data that you would then know what's happening to the constituencies you're making all these decisions for.
Okay, let me ask you, you say data. What, are you just gonna be using y'all's data? Or are you gonna be putting it in with DSHS and this is gonna be common?
So the lab is
Because
required to report positives the way that they do.
What's that?
The lab is required to report to the government positives the way that they do it.
They report to
But they also
DSHS.
report to negatives. So labs are on the federal reporting book. They're the ones that are in the front line, and they're sending everything to, on a daily basis, it goes to the big, huge database with the CDC. And so they're able to see what the numbers are.
It goes where?
Pardon me?
It goes where?
To the federal government, to the CDC. And that's where they're getting their numbers.
Like
All the
these
states are doing that.
Okay, all of ours, that comes DSHS. I recognize that.
Okay.
Those numbers aren't even correct.
And
This is what
and they're so far behind
Right.
now. I mean, I don't see how we can,
I guess
I'm even a little, when I look at some of the numbers, because we have a certain nursing home in Wilson County that has a bunch of positive residents, and they haven't hit DSHS yet.
Right.
So
So
the
we-
data is gonna be weeks behind as it is, or days behind, not necessarily weeks.
the data that we collect is only going to be from the people that we actually see on a daily basis, right? So the patients that we interact with, the residents of Wilson County. So the reporting that we do will be in real time, as soon as we enter it into our systems. And we will be able to report on this. We will be able to report to you how many positive antibodies, how many positive infections, how many people we triage.
Okay, y'all are gonna report straight to us,
Yes, sir.
the information y'all got, that's not a violation of HIPAA?
No, sir.
Because
I can
it's
do
not
it in
identifiable.
In an aggregate.
What's that?
I can do it in an aggregate. I can do it, I can tell you what I've found, and that information is very powerful. But I don't tell you who those individual people are.
It's what they deem as not identified.
Judge, what was the cost, was there any cost to the county for the testing that we did, the 600 tests last week?
Cover what it costs the county? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's
We
not
had 617 people in 6 hours.
607.
And I think that's fabulous. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I believe that there's more that we can do. We're sending, how many people you just mentioned, home with either positive or negative, and they don't know what that means. And furthermore, if they are positive, they don't have primary care. They're going to your hospitals, like you said, and they're calling EMS, and they're overloading the system because they don't know where to go. They will have a phone number for a primary care doctor in San Antonio. They can tell them where to go. And then
What are y'all asking Wilson County to commit?
we've got the commitment of the space. We need $50.
State.
per person.
What's that?
We need $50 per person.
And we don't know how many persons it's gonna be.
No, but we can limit it to certain groups of people, right? I can look and see how many, statistically, well, I know how many employees the city of Floresville has. I don't, you all know how many employees you have. We can do it in groups, like we can do it, and then we can do it groups with uninsured. We can market to people.
But those are all the same people that can go for free testing and then contact their primary care physician, correct?
That's correct. They have choices. They can do that. This is not, everybody has to do this. But this will be a free choice for them too. There is no copay. The cost, the burden is really, and I know that there's some funding with the cities too, and I don't know if there's a shared burden that we can do or something like that, with the CARES funds, but it's my understanding that you're supposed to use those funds for the fighting and treatment of COVID-19, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to bring primary care doctors for San Antonio telephonically into Wilson County and help treat your people here that come down with this pandemic. And it's only going to cost you $50 for us to collect that data so that we can get it to you.
Are your services offered to the public via your website? Aren't the tests available on your website?
Our own company has an individual product,
Right.
an antibody test that people can get, yes. But I'm not here selling that.
Okay, now once they're diagnosed with COVID-19, okay, so your doctors are gonna telephonic, whatever, for
It's a
free?
supplemental plan.
Yes.
For free?
Yeah, we have
It'll be charged to their insurance.
Your 3 doctors are going to do telemedicine for all 1,000 people that show up.
That's what I'm concerned about.
So here's how it works, is we have a triage tree. Okay? And so meaning that it's not just our 3 doctors, it's also our nursing staff and everybody else that ties into it. So it's a total of about 15 people. And what they do is we just call patients, if they're negative on both, it's a 5-minute phone call where we advise them what they need to do, what type of behavior they need to maintain, probably really reimbursing what they're probably currently doing. If they test positive for either test, then we advise them what does that mean, and that's going to be a provider that has that conversation with them. What's the next steps, what they need to do, and how and when and where. And that's what we do. So the biggest thing that we want to do at that point is we want to find out, are they symptomatic? That's that day 1 call. Remember, it's the 1, 4, 7, 10. So the day 1 call is, we need to find out where they are. Are they symptomatic in any way? And if they aren't, we advise them what they need to do to maintain their quarantine and do all of those procedures, right? Then on day 4, we call them again to see how they are, because it could have progressed. And then we call them again, see how they're doing. If they're doing well, we advise them accordingly. Day 7, what we try to do is to get them back in to test. We want them to swab again. We want to see if they're still shedding the virus and all that. If they're not, then pretty much they're ready to go. But we want to do the blood test on them too, because we want to see if they have the antibodies yet. And what we're finding is the antibodies will follow anywhere between 7 to 10 days from that point of when it stops. But ironically, we've had patients that have tested for both. And we don't know if they're still shedding, when that happens. And we've seen them up to 3 weeks is what we've seen so far.
And so that's another key point. The testing that you're currently doing is just what's called PCR testing for active infection. You're not testing for any past infection. And so we want to find out how many people have been exposed already and perhaps are immune to it. That's important. You're not currently testing for that at all.
Is that similar to like the South Texas Blood Bank when you're donating blood and they test for antibodies? Is that the same thing that you're discussing as well?
Again, why Wilson County? I mean, you're saying you're from down in the valley, which has a big number. You got an office in New Braunfels, Comal County, which is way high. Why are you picking Wilson County or Florida?
Because you have an aggressive city manager, City of Floresville.
I mean, but
we-
why
I reach out to
haven't
everyone.
started already, like in the
How come y'all haven't done it?
in
Well,
there?
to be
Why
honest,
did y'all
collaboration-
wait to come to the county? Why isn't it in progress?
We
Well,
are currently doing that in San Antonio.
No, I meant here.
Organizations.
Oh, well.
Why aren't you
we're
doing it
scheduled-
here?
We're scheduled for Thursday. We just put this collaboration together
Okay.
Just
last
last
week.
week. We just
or
met
2
with
weeks.
Carl last week.
Yeah.
It was last Thursday.
They're doing,
So
they're
I
on schedule for
understand the
Thursday.
$50 for employees for y'all to gather the data, and all the other interactions with the doctors and nurses would be billed with the insurance company.
That's
Is that
correct.
Yes,
Yes, that's correct.
But I understand this was supposed to be anybody from the public can go get tested, correct?
They can, if we were to set up that type of program. So there's two types here. There's one that we can screen all of your employees, okay? So all the employees of the county or the city like we're doing on Thursday. We go through all of those folks. Then we could open it up to the general public, but when we open up to the general public, we gotta let them know that we can't take HMOs. That's the only thing that we contractually don't have right now, the capacity to do. If something changes, we'll do that. But we can take uninsured patients, ironically, which is great. And we can take anybody that has a PPO plan or any of the big, the big insurance carriers and do that. So we can do that for the general public, and we can do that, and that's the part that we were talking about as well, is that's the $50 collection from the county. That there's a collection fee is what that is. It's the collection and handling of the specimens is really what that is. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, from what I understand, the process now, I said I had 2 employees go Friday to be tested. They receive communication indicating whether they're positive or not. If they're positive, then they are contacted a few days later, someone from DHS, to explain to them what is going on and what he should do. I would think, depending on their symptoms, they would be suggested to go to the hospital to their primary care doctor.
And many people don't have primary care.
Well, our employees do because the insurance
I
requires.
understand they're sick, but, I mean, it seems like the process that they're doing for free now through the state basically does the same thing y'all do, except for the extra blood work it takes.
There's extra blood work, and there's data at the end. And there's clinical triage for positive COVID-19 patients.
How many can y'all do in a day?
I think I can have 24 phlebotomists here in a day, doing 5 people an hour. Can someone do the math on that? That's what I can do. Starting on Friday.
But so it's not gonna be open to the public right now.
Yes, sir. I
So
mean,
the employees of the,
I feel like so that it's more organized and not overrun, we really have to direct groups of people at a certain time to go, and when it's their, time to visit the commission.
For employees alone, it would cost the county, a little over $9,000 just for the 185 employees.
And they could have gone free the other day. I made phone calls to people to come. We had a handful of employees.
Correct.
So why should we pay when they can do it free? That's my point.
Because you had 2 people in one of the commissioner's office that tested positive over the
We
weekend, right?
had
And
3
they don't know
people
where to
that
go.
tested. No, they could have gone.
They're at home right
No,
now.
I mean, they don't know where to go now
asymptomatic.
that they're tested positive for COVID-19.
Yes, they did. They do know. Okay, we got the results within
3 days,
less than 3 days.
less than 3 days, 2 days.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to figure out the benefit of this. I'm sorry. I thought it was gonna be open to the public, but now I understand it's gonna be for the city employees, the county employees, and maybe to the public, right?
It's up to you, who you want to open it up to.
I mean, considering we have 50,000 people in our county, if we opened it up to the entire county, it would use up our entire CARES Act money. And
Exactly.
even at 1,000 tests, that's $50,000 out of an expense to the county.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Baker, didn't you say they're gonna open up one right up from the highway?
There is a clinic in town that is going to have testing at the part of their offices they haven't been using, and it's supposed to start it today. But it's a private care deal, just like the clinic would be, but my understanding is they're going to start COVID testing today.
And that's free, is that what you said?
Oh, no, it's
Oh, okay.
insurance, it's private.
Oh, it's like a
It's a
primary
regular
physician.
clinic, yes.
Something I'm concerned is just an open checkbook, okay, we don't know what it's gonna cost us.
We can certainly limit that. we can do estimates on the groups that we're gonna target and say, yes, let's, for the city of Floresville first one, and we can do Sutherland Springs, or, we need to figure out an action plan. But, I mean, the point of the matter is, it's available to you. It isn't exactly the same thing as what you're hearing from the other free stuff. Nothing that's ever free is.
Is this everybody's test is better than everybody else's test?
We're just testing different things. We're giving you additional tests. It's not apples to apples. A PCR test of an active infection, we're doing that as well, but then we're giving you information about antibodies and vitamin D and vitals. We collect vitals as well, so that the doctors that are doing the triage for us have, information that they can treat them telephonically. And then, at the end,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then at the end of that, we're able to give you information that you don't have now about number of positives, antibodies that are present in the county, people having an active infection, the severity of those infections.
Okay, but you can't do that because you're only gonna take that many people, because other people are being tested other places. Y'all are just talking about the people that y'all test, and that will be a small portion. How do we compare, if we're gonna expand this, and like you said, y'all will be with DSHS, and that's where that came from. Y'all are gonna have to report to them. It's not the federal government that you report to. That's where that comes from. And then they're gonna have to compile all these numbers, and they're behind now. I mean,
Then you'll be ahead of the game with getting the numbers first.
I just explained that they're days behind, and how are we gonna get them first? Because we're only gonna get a portion of the numbers.
All right, I understand where the confusion lies here. Our lab is in San Antonio. We get the results from San Antonio, from our lab there. We're not waiting for results from another clinic or another entity. As soon as we do stat results, we take them to the lab, they can be processed really quickly. We have that data. This is just a screenshot I took off of the website just to see the prevalence of 180 people in Wilson County. And I believe that there's probably more. We don't use any of this as our report. We will create a separate report. We'll give you the information that you need about the tests that we took and the care of the people that we treat.
Okay, but yeah, it's gonna be just the people y'all test. If y'all test 25 people, it's gonna be the data from 25 people. If you test 500 people, it's gonna be the test from 500. We tested 607 Thursday.
And
Those haven't even hit yet.
I mean, the people know what the results were, but DSHS.
They know what the results were, but as far as hitting the DSHS and getting all the data, there's so many here and so many there, and this, we have.
Would that have been beneficial for you to have those results by, say, tomorrow or Friday?
We can only get it as fast as DSHS.
Right.
And if y'all give it to DSHS, they're gonna put it here when they get to where
Yeah,
y'all.
but we would still give you that report ahead of time. So
I
we
understand.
just need to cross that
I
bridge
understand.
with patients.
we don't have to go through DHS to give you the data that you
Right, that's right.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I want to look into this. I don't wanna, this is the first, y'all come here, give us $50 a person, and let's go. Let's, this could cost the county lots of money.
Right.
And I wanna.
The claims made on the insurance, because our premiums every year are based on claim percentage. Yeah, so it could have an impact on
It could have an impact on
our,
The funds that are coming through the 731, the waivers, that shouldn't impact your claims. That's paid for by CARES Act funds, the insurance companies have negotiated. So that shouldn't come out in your experience.
And everything that I've been seeing so far, and I can't, please guys don't hold me to the fire on this, but I've seen on the insurance side of it, my understanding is anything tied to COVID, when it comes to treatment or testing or anything like that, cannot go against your numbers because of this situation that's happening on your insurance plans as an employer.
That is not accurate, because our HR representative is here, always have this
Is
discussion
that,
with.
they're saying that COVID's gonna impact your numbers?
Just the testing will not impact, but any further claims beyond testing will.
What
So
y'all
you
are talking
can't-
about will.
Okay, I got you.
When it kicks in and they're using their, insurance to,
And that's through the
Okay.
Texas Association of Counties, so
Got
that's
it.
gonna be, any county you go to will have
Okay.
that same.
it has.
So now, is it the care, here's the question I have for you on that, that's a really, thank you for sharing that with me. The testing is completely, cannot count against you all, right? It's the care as in, if they test positive?
Correct.
Okay, well, that I understand, because someone could go to the ICU and that I totally get.
Yes.
Okay. So the overall testing
The testing
is fine.
itself does not.
And if, let's say they're asymptomatic and they stay at home for 2 weeks, not gonna impact that at all, right?
Correct.
And when my providers call and say on day 4, 7, and 10, that's just regular follow-up on that.
Yeah, but y'all are gonna.
Assuming there's no bill to the insurance.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yep. But that would not, because that's typically, would that be considered a treatment, do you think, or how would they?
It would depend on how you guys bill it.
Right, it depends on.
It's just follow-up is what we do. We do
So
it as a
there's no bill
follow-up
to
visit.
the insurance,
Yes, we bill the insurance, but it's a follow-up visit.
then it would still go.
So that would impact that.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Dan, y'all would make a motion that we, table this for now until we do some more research on it and find out more information.
I think that's a good idea. You got a second for the table?
I'll do it.
We got a motion.
Commissioner Wiley.
Okay. A motion from Commissioner Hyde, and a second from Commissioner Wiley to table this until we can look into it some more. Does anybody have any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. we will
Thanks a
be
lot.
in touch.
Really appreciate your time.
And stay safe.
Okay, let's go to agenda item number 18, and then we'll come back to 17. Oh, I can see. Oh, man, here.
18?
Going to 18, yes.
That's me?
Edwin Baker, Health and Public Safety, enacting burn ban, discuss and take action. We have a public comment, and Chris Thompson.
Thank you, Judge. Wilson County District 1 Fire is in favor of enacting the burn ban. We've seen an uptick in fires recently, and with the dry conditions out there, we think it's warranted. I'm here, though, to ask that the county fire marshal work a little closer with the fire departments on this burn ban and set some, be proactive and put out some information on what can and can't be done. Right now, it just seems like we enact a burn ban, and then he goes back and relies on a TCEQ law that's kind of vague, where most counties put out, this is what you can and you cannot do. It's a lot of work on us as a fire department. We get a lot of calls, a lot of questions, and there's not a lot of clarity from the county. The ESDs can't set a burn ban on their own. We have to rely on the county to do that. We are in support of it. We're just asking that the county work a little closer, because we have to deal with the fires that are started, that are issued by permits. And if we don't have a lot of clarifications, we're just kind of left out there in the wind. So that's all I'm asking, but we definitely are in support of it.
Okay. Edwin, you have anything?
Oh, just a burn ban. The adoption date will be today, but we don't quite meet the criteria for the KBDI, but we will by next Monday. If it continues, we'll actually exceed it by some. So my request would be that we adopt it today and put it into effect next Monday. Plus, it takes about a week or two for public to get to know it. We always get, I didn't know there was a burn ban even when we've had one on for 6 months. So that's something that we have to live with.
How will we put that, how will we, as a notice?
In other words, I just won't start issuing permits until the 20th,
Okay.
which will be next week. There's nothing I can, right now, nobody knows anything. And if they call in, we've been telling them, we're not in a burn ban, but we're going to start the burn ban. There'll probably be one in effect pretty quick, which is now.
Okay.
The same thing with the agricultural burns, 10 acres or more. You have to have more than 10 acres to do agricultural burns. In the past, I have allowed burning in subdivisions, even if on days that it was reasonably safe for them to do so. Most of the time I notify the commissioners and, you know, where I think they are in their area as far as it being safe or not. And, you know, if the commissioners don't want me to allow burning in subdivisions at all they gotta do is tell me and I will shut it down. I know I've talked to, Albert has some, the Commissioner Gomez has some, Commissioner File and Commissioner Carr, they all have subdivisions. Well, now Commissioner Tu does, he's got several. And I usually communicate with them on whether we will work, you know, whether we're gonna allow burning or not, and if they, you know, they have something to say about it, whether it's, no, I don't think so, it's still pretty dry, because right now, not all the county's that dry, it's just parts of it.
No, from the east side and the northeast side, got plenty of rain, and they're pretty good shape over
Well, thank you.
So anyway, adopting the burn ban, we'll start issuing permits the 20th through the office. They call in the office to get permits.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
motion by Commissioner Gomez, second by Commissioner Fowle, that we enact the burn ban to be effective next Monday, the 20th.
That's too low.
Any questions or comments?
Now, that would be, you know what he's talking about, what he's wanting?
Not really. It's something I'll get with him later on to find out what he wants to do. There are some things that we can't do. We don't have the money. You know, if we can budget another $10,000-$20,000 in our, to get the public information out, you know, put out posters and all that stuff, we could do that, but I don't have the money to do a lot of that stuff. Some of it I probably can do, it just depends on what he's asking. I try to keep it even throughout the county, instead of doing, you know, something in one area but not in another, because all that does is create havoc for y'all and me. But I'll meet with him after we leave here and find out what else he wants. Anything else? There is a possibility we'll be doing another walk-up before school starts, but we don't know for sure.
Okay. We've got one requested, I know that. Okay, this order does not have effective date on it.
That's because technically it is today, we're just not gonna start issuing permits till Monday.
Okay, then, good.
So we won't have anybody call in for a week for the most part anyway.
Okay. Got a motion and a second that we issue an order of burn ban. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? So we have a burn ban.
Unfortunately.
You know. What do you sign both of them, Eva?
Yes, he wanted one.
The effective date is today, Judge?
No.
Well, but he's not gonna start issuing permits till next Monday.
I mean, somebody calls and asks, I can say that the burn ban went into effect as of today, is that correct?
No, July 20th.
Let everyone explain it to you.
Because y'all voted on it, and today is the day, but we usually give a 7-day grace period, especially if we're in conditions that it's not that bad, which that's what we're in right now. I think the highest, if the drought area of the county is 550, and we'll probably, the average will be above 550 if everything continues the way it is by this time next week. So next week is when we're gonna start permitting, but because Commissioner's Court was today, I either have to do it today or wait till the next meeting.
Okay. Understand, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we have a burn ban. Okay, we're moving back to agenda item 17, Leanne Hosek, EMC, and I think it's Lisa Kutzer, and said 17A, pipeline crossing permit, 17A1, permit number 119, EVX Eagleford Partners, LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 453, review and approve.
Judge, already
Judge,
reviewed those.
Did you want to do them all together?
Yes.
We can do them all, okay,
Is
we can
that
do them all.
okay with you?
And 17A2, permit number 120, EVX Eagleford Eagle Ford Partners LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 454, review and approve. 17A3, permit number 121, EVX Eagle Ford Partners LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 454, review and approve. And 17A4, permit number 122, EVX Eagle Ford Partners LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 252, review and approve. Thank you. How are you?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hyde to approve them all.
Second.
Second, Albert seconded them. Second by Commissioner Gomez. Is there any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so these have all. You want these back, or you gotta test them?
Yes.
Okay, so. $17B, non-standard plants and variances, 2124 Polly Lane, Precinct 3, Johnson. Discuss and take action.
Mr. and Ms. Johnson are wanting to, requesting to survey out the property to sell for their,
I think this is.
that's just kind of
Okay.
showing pretty quick what they're asking, requesting to survey out. And it's not serviced by SS Water or anything, so they'll be, you know, if whoever purchases it, you know, everybody out in that area does well, drills well.
It's also a private road, too.
I was going to say, yes, isn't Polly Lane a private road?
Correct.
It is.
But it met all the requirements.
Okay.
Motion to approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Hyde, second by Commissioner Wiley. We approve. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, this passes. Okay, moving right along to agenda item 19, Eva S. Martinez, County Clerk, minutes.
Yes, sir. Had handed those out to y'all, and the judge has reviewed them and is.
I got a comment, like just a comment on the June 22nd meeting.
Yes, sir.
Agenda items 5A and 5B. They're gonna turn the petitions in this afternoon. They got out and worked and got a bunch of signatures. That's surprising.
The signatures?
Yeah, this was on a petition to legalize, alcohol in parts of Wilson County, like the Stockton area and Pandora area. They had like 700 and something signatures to get, and in a couple of weeks they got them. Yeah.
I got tired of that.
I wonder what that tells you about over there.
You mentioned why I don't have to go to Guadalupe County anymore.
Motion for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Fowles, second by Commissioner Gomez, that we approve the minutes. Y'all have any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? So the minutes. Okay, agenda item number 20, Jan Hartle, County Treasurer, Financial Report. Jan, you don't have one? No. Okay, then going to agenda item number 21, Dalen C. Potiphar, Human Resource General Specialist, Payroll and Personnel Changes.
Good morning. Joseph Sears began working as a road hand for Precinct 3 on June 30th, making $18 an hour or $37,440 annually. Charles Hutchinson will begin working as a corrections officer for the Sheriff's Department on July 15th, making $14.65 per hour or $32,000 annually. Devin Benavides was terminated from her position as a tax customer service specialist for the tax office effective June 30th. And Matthew Flynn has resigned from his position as a patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Department effective July 2nd.
Okay. This is just informational. There's no
Yes, sir.
changes on any line items or anything. Thank you.
Yes,
Okay, now, agenda item 22, Brenda Trevino, County Auditor. Bills.
Bills, totaling $321,105.88. Nothing really out of the ordinary.
You have the bill to sign?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Sure.
John, have you gotten with Biz?
Yes.
Okay,
They'll probably be out, I think, sometime this week. Let me check.
okay.
Mr. McConey, will you make sure when y'all go to Raleigh, make sure you say ESD 2?
And see, they
Precinct
do. I
2.
talked to them. The two names that were assigned to it are two that purchase regularly, and they said, we said, so that's, on the operator error side of it. Cause there was a captain and a full-time firefighter who were on the names. So which is strange, I think they found that was back in January or something, a good while back. But yes, as soon as we received a phone call, we sent out a message just to triple check.
Really, one of the biggest invoices that you'll see on there is the one for, Taylor, which is the people installing the stuff, so we had to pay 75% of that invoice, which is that $47,000. And then we'll be billed, invoice the remaining amount when they come back on, is it the 22nd, Judge?
22nd, they're supposed
Come back
to,
to
panels are supposed to come in this Friday, and they're supposed to be in on the 22nd to install. As long as we don't have court, we're not having that much on our district and county court. know Brian Trevino? No? We have to start.
I thought it was an autopsy, we're paying for all, paying for all kinds of autopsies.
That's the deal.
Maybe. I don't know, if he's rich, maybe I know. Or I want to know.
Motion for the,
Make a motion to accept the bill.
motion by Commissioner Gomez,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hyde, that we accept the bill from the county auditor. Is there any more discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? This motion carries. So, Skip and Larry, you'll need to come by and sign the bills when you get a chance, or the order. Y'all don't
I'll do
mind?
it.
Other than that, we're gonna go to agenda item number 23 at 11:25. We're adjourned. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Adjourn, which one?
11:25.